Hello everyone, Mr. Nacho here, and welcome back to another episode of Community Builds with Nacho. Today we have 3 new builds that you have requested under the previous video, so let's get right into it. The first build is the Firestorm build, and the request comes from it's Den05. Also a build for Firestorm. I'm curious about how you do your build with the Firestorms. Anyway, this is the way that me and Batman used to do it way back when, and this is what he called a self-immolation build, which basically throws the tornado underneath your feet and you never die, the enemy does, and you don't really even see it happening. So the way that it works is that basically you would just go with the Firestorm and apply it wherever the enemy is, and then it would just keep damaging them and healing you back to full, so you should be fine. Also, we have the medic as a prime, so we'll get all of our relics back. So this is a little bit how it looks like. It's gonna be hard to see, but everything around you will just die and you are practically invincible in this scenario. So this is how the build looks like. We have the primary medic with regenerator perk to get our relics back, and we have arc and secondary simply because we don't need it as primary, because we'll be dealing elemental damage and Stone of Malevolence will give us all of the mod power that we could ever need. The armor that we are using is the full Litho Mark II set. When it comes to the relic, we have the shielded heart right now with health, mod damage and elemental damage. The other good choices, since you are not really going to be very mobile, would be Crystal Heart, the Constrained Heart, the Resonating Heart would be great as well. Even something like the Void Heart would work here, so it's all up to you. Next we have the Bulldog with Firestorm and Feedback. This is great for making any Firestorm build. The Feedback mutator just gives us a lot of power back, and the choice of Bulldog is just something that I like to use because we are gonna be up close to the enemy anyway, so we might as well just go with a shotgun, right? Then we have the Krelax with Tainted Blade for some corroded damage. We don't really use it all that much, it's not necessary, but it's there if you need it. And then we have Nebula with Harmonizer to generate even more power for our Firestorm, and the Nano Swarm does its damage anyway. And also we'll be close up, so we can apply the corroded status with Nebula up close, and it will be 10% bonus damage, so that's always nice. Then we have the Golden Ribbon to increase our mod damage. We have Singe Drink because we apply fire damage and burning status to the enemies, so it's free 10% damage. Shard Banded Ring to increase our mod damage even further. Then we have the Alchemy Stone. Whenever we are inside of the tornado and we are set on fire, we will just get 6% bonus lifesteal. And then we have Stone of Malevolence to get our mod back extremely quickly. Then we have Triage and Flashcaster, Kinship, so we don't really take any damage from our own tornadoes. Regrow, Fortify, Strong Back to have as much defenses as possible, also Vigor. Then we have Spirit to increase our mod power generation, Expertise to reduce the cooldowns, Siphoner to get even more lifesteal, and Amplitude to increase the size of our tornado, of our wellspring, and of our reality rune. So whenever you are fighting, you might just as well just throw the tornado and then use the life spring, and then you'll just keep regaining health whenever the enemy attacks you. You'll get regeneration from the Firestorm itself because of the lifesteal on it, and you're basically unkillable. So this is a very powerful and easy to use build. And let me show you how it did against the Red Prince. We just showed him that we are the ones who control the fire and not him. So I think that it should be pretty nice to watch. I will see you at the next build. Welcome back. The next build is a combination of two different requests that we had. One comes from the guy called Talent Trippin 3535, and he says, Nacho, can you guide us with your version of Alpha Omega mod spam or Archon mod spam builds in general? Alpha Omega with detonation trigger puts in some good work, but I can't seem to put together a cohesive spam build with it. And the other request is from HRVY BK3LO. Can you do please a explosive build with Anguish or the grenade thrower? Well, I would have done it with Anguish, but it's bugged right now and it's not really very powerful. I hope that it will be patched and buffed, but since it's not for now, we use the Corrupted Meridian with Harmonizer on it. We again have the Krelax with Tainted Blade, and we have the Alpha Omega with Prophecy on it. This is an extremely good setup. We have the Archon primary and the Alchemist secondary with the Frenzy Dust, simply because those mods don't really benefit from the mod cast speed from the Flashcaster, but they instead benefit from the fire rate, since we will be firing the Beta Rays and we'll be firing the Dead Point cluster bombs. They only benefit from fire rate, so we might as well just go with the Alchemist for the increase to all damage and bonus fire rate. When it comes to the armor, we have the Fieldmatic Mask, Bruiser Bodyplate, Night Stalker Pants, and Survivor Gloves. The relic is the Tranquil Heart with mod damage, fire rate, and mod cost. And again, fire rate, so we can use our mods faster. If you'd like, you can just as well go with the Runed Heart. It will be actually better for this build, I assume, but you will have to use it constantly. When it comes to the jewelry, we have the Detonation Trigger, we have the Singed Ring, Shard Banded Ring, Blasting Cap, and Stone of Malevolence. And the traits are Flashcaster Potency, Triage, Kinship, Regrowth, Fortify, Vigor, Spirit, Expertise, Amplitude, and Siphoner. So we are going to have big explosions, and we will just get some HP back from those, and we will just increase the mod power generation with them. And with the Stone of Malevolence, the Detonation Trigger will set everything on fire, so it should be good for our mod generation. And basically, you would just want to go with the Alpha Omega first. So you apply all of those, then you swap to another weapon, and with the Corrupted Meridian you use its mod. Maybe a little bit far away since we have Amplitude. And then you swap back to Alpha Omega. And then you might have to do 1 or 2 shots with the Corrupted Meridian to get its mod back, but we have it back, and then we again swap to Alpha Omega. And we can just loop it like this. It does some decent damage, it sets everything on fire, it gives us a lot of mod power back. This is a very useful build. It's dangerous to play it in co-op, same as with the previous build. But if you are a maniac, then, well, I can't really stop you. So let me show you how this does against the One True King, and I will see you at the next build. Alright, and welcome back to the last build of the video. The request comes from No Reason Bro, and they say, would love to see your best Bonesaw build. Also love the videos, man. Well, thank you so much, and this is actually a build that I've been using quite a lot. This is my comfort build, so whenever I don't feel like thinking too much and just letting it rip and just breezing through anything extremely easily, this is the build that I use. So this is a little bit of a secret for me, but there you go. The build looks like this. It's a typical Hags build, so we have Hunter with the Hunter's Mark and the Gunslinger with Bulletstorm. The armor is Elder Headdress, Bruiser Bodyplate, Night Stalker Pants, and the High Noon Arm Guards. The relic is the Tranquil Heart with range damage, range crit chance, and ranged crit damage. The star of the show is the Bonesaw with Overflow and Ingenuity. If you are hard pressed for some more damage, then you would want to swap the Ingenuity for Momentum. But this is just something that I like, and I don't like to have to worry about the overheat mechanic. So the Ingenuity just takes care of it, and Overflow combined with Ingenuity, combined with the Gunslinger and the Bulletstorm, just makes the reload on the Bonesaw extremely quick. It's a very easy to proc, and you don't really have to worry about anything in this scenario. Then we have the Krelax with Tainted Blade, again for corroded status. We don't really use it that much. We could be optimizing it more and using it actually in the boss fight, but we just didn't. So it's a nice thing to have if you are struggling or want to optimize as much as possible, but in general, you don't really have to use it. This is a personal preference. And then we have the Enigma with Extender, so we can deal with adds extremely easily. Then we have the Whispering Marble and the Dried Clay Ring. So the egg gives us 3 stacks of Bulwark and increases our damage. And this gives us 1 stack of Bulwark and increases our damage. And then this reduces the range that we have and increases our damage. This increases the crit damage and this increases the weak spot damage. So we are all decked out. This does quite a lot, and it's very, very simple to use. Then we have long shot and ammo reserves. Ammo reserves are key. If you want to go for something like the Challenger with the Rampage skill, that's okay. Just remember to spec into the ammo reserves because you'll need it. Then we have Swiftness, Regrowth, Fortify, Triage, Vigor, Spirit, Expertise, Handling. Handling is key here because the Bonesaw has the mechanic of the longer you shoot, the more precise you are. So this lets us start at the better footing and we'll be more precise with it. And then we have Fitness, so we just have increased evade distance and it lets us be more nimble and agile. And let's see the DPS test of this weapon. This would be Hunter's Mark, the Overflow, and the Bulletstorm. And here we go. Yeah, as you can see, the reload is extremely quick. We don't really have to worry about anything, and we can just keep shooting. In normal scenario, it's very unlikely that you'll be shooting for as long as you can, so you will never actually reach the full hit gauge. But if you are worried about it, then you can swap the Burden of the Destroyer for the micro compressor, and with this setup you should be able to just keep on shooting until, well, you run out of ammo basically, so you will never overheat. If this is something you're worried about, then just try this. Yeah, so as you can see, there is no way that we can ever overheat. This just does quite a decent damage. With all of our abilities, it was around 4000. Just normally, it would be about 2500. This is a comfort build. If you were to go for something that does way more damage, but is harder to pull off, then you would go for the Momentum instead of Ingenuity. You would swap Overflow for the corrosive rounds. And then you would go with the standard Nightweaver's Grudge and Atonement Fold. You would be way more squishy, but you will also deal a little bit more damage. I would still leave the micro compressor in, especially if you are about to get rid of Ingenuity, simply because Bonesaw tends to overheat rather quickly. So this is the build. Let me show you how it works on the boss fight, and I will see you for the outro. Alright, so these are all of the builds that we have prepared for today. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you have any requests or ideas of your own, then please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.